a huge fucking nerd. That's right, I'm a huge fucking nerd. I like lots of books and computers, 'cause I am a huge fucking nerd.
One-of-a-kind shades made to order by Vaporshades.com. Vaporshades designs the outer layer of the sunglasses just like a wrap on a car. They customize your sunglasses, marbling the paint. The end result is no two pair of sunglasses are alike. Yours will be completely unique to you. Check us out at Vaporshades.com. Use promo code Tuddle for 15% off your entire order. Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Vaporshades Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Not even going to plug anything. I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to give you a heads up. You know me and the shows that I like to do. I like to do fun radio, but sometimes there's just things you have to talk about. Now, I think both sides are to blame for what's gone on. All this division. I don't understand why everything has to be black or white, this or that in this country now. Like, I can have a cordial discussion with anybody. I really can. I don't support either side of the political parties. I really don't. I think they are all crooked. I don't think we really have a say in anything anymore because of the lobbyists. But what happened yesterday was a little despicable. Now, and I know a lot of you people, you're automatically going to call me a libtard, but it's kind of hypocritical. You know, everybody wants to, what about the BLM people? Black Lives Matter. Nobody was making a big deal about this when they were burning down stuff. Now, I will admit, I did see in the media, there were some Trump fans that were being cool. They did not enter the building. Hell, I even saw some Trump people that were telling them not to do this. And I'm not buying the hype on that these were Antifa people dressed as Trump supporters. You know, social media is going to be the downfall of this country because people will take anything that they see on social media as the God-given fact, and that's not the case. I'll admit, I find a lot of breaking news on social media before the national media gets a hold of it, but I don't run with any of that stuff. I always look, I'll Google, I'll try to find a couple of sources. So I'm not trying to lump everybody in, but, you know, all of the Trump supporters that were talking about the Black Lives Matter people, that they were just looting, they were destroying things, setting stuff on fire, violence. Do you guys realize that the same thing that happened yesterday at our Capitol? I mean, it was not all Trump supporters doing that. It was a select few, just like the Black Lives Matter people. So I'm sad to see what happened yesterday, but goddamn, the shoe is on the other foot now, and it doesn't feel too good. And here, I'll give you a prime example, okay? All the Trump people, they're all talking about, oh, you know, they should be pepper spraying and tear gassing and beating the hell out of these people more. And I'm going to play some audio. This is a Trump supporter. And, you know, they all like to use that saying, play stupid games, or I don't know. It's just like play stupid games, you get what you're asking for. I don't know exactly what it is. I know I sound like an idiot because I didn't have the exact quote. But everybody's been saying that. It's kind of like you got what was coming to you. And this is just a Trump supporter that, I guess, like a content provider, I don't even know if this person was in the media, starts questioning this Trump supporter that just got a full can of mace or pepper spray right in the face.
Ma'am, what happened to you?
I got maced.
You got maced?
By the police.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made it like like a foot inside, and they pushed me out and they maced me.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And why did you want to go in?
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
All right, that statement of this is a revolution, and I don't want any of you people to take what I'm about to say as I support what happened yesterday, because I don't. But think about this. Our founding fathers basically did the same thing that you saw yesterday. Yeah, the Boston Tea Party or the Revolution. Because if you break it down to its basic forms, the original Americans were treasonous. They were traitors. Our country was based on a bunch of traitors going against Great Britain, because that's where we came from. So back to what I'm saying is that I don't believe or support what happened yesterday, but I mean, a lot of people are throwing the word traitor around a lot. Now, it's all about perspective, people. I mean, whatever side you're on, you're going to believe, oh, this was right, this was wrong. I mean, I denounce everything that happened yesterday, and I got to give a lot of credit to the security there. Well, good and bad, because they kind of folded a little bit, but it would have been a nightmare. And I'm not going to be one of those radio hosts that says, oh, I called it. I called it. Well, you know what? I kind of am. My whole archive of the Tuddle Daily podcast is available at my hosting site, or iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. And I've been calling this. I told people, because everybody was excited about the end of the year. Everything's going to get better in 2021. And I said, nah, not so fast, my friend. To quote Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. You might want to tighten up those seatbelts. And I've been, just go back 3 or 4 months. I said there was going to be problems with this election. And there was. And now it's carrying over. And the only thing that's going to really, really help us is COVID. Could you imagine on Inauguration Day if it was a full crowd out there, all the Biden supporters, and then you're going to have a bunch of really pissed off Trump supporters? And that could have gotten really, really ugly. So thankful for that. And like I said, I don't want you to think that I'm supporting what happened yesterday, but let's not act like this has never happened in our country before, because it has. I mean, sometimes you just have to revolt. Not in this case. Here, I'll give you another example. I don't understand why people are trying to make a comparison between Ashley Babbitt and George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. It's like, everything that the Republicans and the MAGA people were bitching about, the Black Lives Matter thing, they are taking the same playbook and using it because Ashley Babbitt got shot. It is sad. I got to tell you, I watched that video and it really fucked me up a little bit. Let me play this audio for you and it'll explain a little bit more.
All right, we do want to bring you some breaking news right now. The woman who was shot and killed inside the U.S. Capitol today during the riots was actually from San Diego. KUSI, we have spoken with her husband and he tells us Ashley Babbitt, that's her name. She was a 14-year veteran. She served 4 tours with the U.S. Air Force and was a high-level security officer throughout her time in service. Her husband says she was a strong supporter of President Trump and was a great patriot to all who knew her. Metropolitan Police Department say an investigation continues right now into her death. KUSI sends our condolences to her family and to all who knew her.
So there's 2 directions that I could go with this. I could go shock jock and be like, fuck her. She knew what she was getting into. She was a veteran in the Air Force. She should know that the rules of engagement. And I've gotten mixed reports. I've heard that the guy that shot Ashley Babbitt was a part of Mike Pence's security staff. And I get that. As a Air Force veteran, you should know that if you're trying to crawl through a little space in a door that they have barricade, you're kind of taking your life into your own hands with that. But where I feel bad, and if you've not seen the video, and I'm gonna play the audio. If you're sensitive, I suggest you do not watch the video, because I've seen a lot of messed up stuff, and it's not even like the video was that gory. I mean, there was some blood and stuff, but the look on Ashley Babbitt's face because I have mixed feelings of it, and I don't know what it is, but seeing that panic in her face, that she realizes she just got shot and she's dying, and that look of, man, was this really worth it? And a lot of you people are one to call her a patriot, and I get what you're saying, and I see both sides, but I'm more worried about the loss of a human life. And I think why she had that look on her face, and I'm not going to speak for her, but in my opinion, it was like, was this worth it? I just got shot in the neck, and I'm dying over some guy that has divided this country, propaganda. Because as a soldier, a lot of people think soldiers get, freedom of speech. Yeah, for the most part they do. But, you're supposed to respect the process. And no matter who is in charge, you kind of got to be like, all right, that's what the majority wants. And I know that some people feel like this was cheated, that Biden really didn't win. But is it worth dying? Because here, let me play this audio for you real quick, and then I'll finish the rest of my statement. I know this is an audio platform, and I'm not telling you to go watch this video, but it is kind of a big slap in the face. I mean, it's an eye-opening thing because, like I said, it's not as gory as you would think it is, but just seeing the panic, the regret in Ashley Babbitt's face, because she knew she was dying with that shot that she took, and all the other people putting cameras right in her face. And you know what? A lot of you could say, well, you're watching it. I mean, it's kind of a part of the news. I hear a lot of both sides talking, oh, we might have a civil war. And I think some people really do think that they want a civil war. They would love to see it. But I once again, a couple of months ago, I talked about this. The Civil War is the deadliest conflict that American soldiers have ever fought in. I mean, we had more casualties in the Civil War than what we did in World War II. So be careful for what you wish for, because Ashley Babbitt, the last few minutes of her life, and I can't say it for a fact, but I saw regret. I was like, not even regret. It's just, man, is it really worth it? Because as you're lying on the floor, dying in our nation's capital, was it really worth it? Because, to be honest, if I'm just being honest, none of these politicians care about us. Do you think Donald Trump lost a minute of sleep over Ashley Babbitt dying? I'm just being honest. And I know that I'm probably going to lose some subscribers or some followers and stuff, but that's the thing about it. I will have a debate with anybody about this, a cordial debate. Like I'm not going to be one of those people that are just calling names, because I get called all types of names. I get grouped in as a liberal. But do you think if Ashley Babbitt had it to all do over again, and for the people that are saying she's a patriot, you know that does not help her family. It doesn't. And I'm sure Ashley Babbitt was a good person, but she had her head filled with lies from both sides in the media, on social media as well too. And it's just not worth it. I mean, guys, we got to get along. Because if we don't, we're doomed. What are all the countries thinking right now? I mean, they got to be sitting back and being like, hell yeah. How's that democracy working out for you now, Americans? You know they all are. China, Iran, North Korea, Russia. They're having a good old time right now. And I'm not anti-American. I still think you know what? I used to say that, but I really can't now. I'm still proud to be an American, but I still don't, I don't think we can even call ourselves a superpower anymore. I mean, guys, can you be honest with yourself? Or are you going to call me anti-American? Because I'm just being real. Because we are on a tipping point that if we don't start acting like Americans, all these other countries, they're not going to have to do a goddamn thing to us because we are going to kill ourselves from the inside out. And that's just the harsh facts. Going to take a quick break. When I come back, I'm going to be talking to my buddy Ciroc again. I know I had him on yesterday, but I wanted to talk to him and chat it up about what happened at our nation's capital yesterday. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
He's a nerd,
I've only been arrested one time.
a radio personality,
Professionally, I'm not in the best position that I've ever been in.
and hot talk satirizer.
You would think with everything that's going on, a Caucasian like myself wouldn't be able to randomly talk to an African American or a minority.
You're listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Have you considered owning your own restaurant franchise? Good Life Organics currently offers territories across the United States. Check out GLO Franchising. That's GLO Franchising on Facebook to sign up for an overview session today. Good Life Organics Franchising, a new partner of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Tell them Tuddle sent you. Send them a message on Facebook at facebook.com/GLO Franchising.
Welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. I know I had this guest on yesterday, but I think we're working really well together. And I wanted to get his opinion on what happened in Washington, D.C. yesterday. And I don't want anybody to think I'm being insensitive or anything, but I want to throw out some questions. I'm not on either side. But the reason I wanted to have Ciroc on was that something like this happening yesterday, Ciroc. And did you see some of the videos and stuff?
Yeah. Like it was actually, when we were doing the show yesterday, like that's when like things popped. Like so as we were recording, like things were like, kind of going down up in DC. Yeah, that was insane. I don't know if it was insane. I mean, it kind of was.
We kind of knew it, like we kind of felt it coming, like, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I've been saying it, like everybody was talking about, I'm glad 2020 is almost over with. And I said, hey, you need to fasten your seatbelts because there's going to be a problem with this election.
Right.
And this has led to this.
And Trump is not going to go down without a fight. Like, at the end of the day, 4 years ago when he first ran, like, the big thing was, he's a businessman. He knows how to run, his his company and all that stuff, and and obviously that's not
now
political, but it's business guys, they're cutthroat at the end of the day. Like they're confrontational, and I think this is starting to show now.
Now, Ciroc, I mean, all right. So before we get into it, and it made me sit back because I'm kind of like a news junkie. Like if something is going live, like I will stay glued to it. Are you like that? Like if something is breaking news and you got the time, like are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on what it is. The reason I say that because when you look at the news, technically everything is breaking news. So, it's hard to differentiate like what's actually like legit or like
I'm talking big news. Like, all right, here, I'll give you an example. One of the first big news stories that was live televised was the O.J. Simpson Bronco thing.
Okay.
All right. And everybody was glued to that.
Okay.
Now, I mean, but think of all the other events that have happened here. Okay. Well, see, you're 10 years younger than me, but like 9/11, these tragedies, these breaking news events, now it's not just written about and we read about it.
We're actually watching
we can watch it. Now,
and what's even better is you can watch it like that's
anytime on demand.
Yeah, no, live. Like, all someone has to do is go on their Facebook and go live. That's actually there. And, it's
or look at your YouTube stream or it could be anything.
Right.
Do you think the Capitol has good Wi-Fi? Like, do you think some of those streamers were like, all right, man, let's see if we can get the Wi-Fi password because I want my stream to be crystal clear.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. No, hopefully it has some good Wi-Fi. But yeah, it was like, you got one thing, the news says one thing, and then you have people who, like I said, are streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and you're watching it live for yourself. So, you choose what you want to believe and see and who's credible and who's not. As of late, though, like media sources, I mean, we've always followed them for the majority of most of our lives. But, as the past couple of years, they're in question. They kind of show you what you want to see, or it's not necessarily you watching what's going on. Like, say you're watching CNN or Fox News, right? And they have live
they're all
feeds.
biased, though. Everybody wants to talk about Fox News being biased. But I mean, even MSNBC, CNN, they're all biased as well, too. That's not journalism. That is opinionated journalism.
And what really screws it up is like, so when you're watching a Facebook Live video, right? You just watch, you see what's going on, people can comment. When you're watching something on the news, it can be the same video, but that headline that they make makes all the difference, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that says is going to affect how you feel about the situation. You can say breaking news, protest at the Capitol, or you can say breaking news, people are rioting at the Capitol, destroying stuff. And that makes it literally can be the same video just with a different headline, and it makes all the difference.
All right, so I want to. This is going to be something very, very sensitive that I'm going to talk about. Okay, I was talking about the videos. Okay, now no matter what, I don't care if you're for Trump or against Trump, the senseless death of Ashley Babbitt. Now, I'm not saying it's senseless. Like, she should have known. She should have known better because she was a 14-year Air Force veteran.
Yep.
Now, like you should know better than anybody. Like, they're not playing around when you're trying to get into the Capitol building.
Yeah, and it's a mob mentality though, right? Like obviously there's always going to be a high risk of something happening, someone getting hurt. But when it's a crowd of a couple thousand people, 10,000 people, you automatically think, hey, well, it's probably not going to be me, right? But at the end of the day, those officers and the Secret Service and everyone else involved, they're doing their job.
But you put them in that situation, though,
right?
Not a lot of people think about. Now, we've had conversations about Blue Lives Matter type stuff. Okay, now I agree with you. There are bad cops, but there are good cops out there. Would you agree or disagree? Okay, now for that guy that had to shoot that woman, I'm sure that fucked him up. Like, I would almost be absolutely sure that it did.
Now, was he, I didn't, as far as the details, was he actually like a Secret Serviceman or a police officer or a federal agent? Like, what was his like actual title?
So I'm getting mixed reports. That he was part of the Capitol Hill security team, but then I've also read some other stories where he might have been a part of Pence's
security team.
Personal security team. Now, if that's the vice president and
Then,
you're trying to jump through a door, like
it's justified. It's 100% justified.
now, one of the big questions I wanted to ask you is that it infuriates me that we have to divide ourselves. It's either this or that. It's either black or white.
Right.
And people are trying to make the comparisons, like George Floyd, who was a criminal the whole time, and he was resisting, and we memorialized George Floyd and we caused all this and all that. Why are we not making a big deal about this Ashley Babbitt that got shot? So why are people trying to make that connection? Is it a way to justify their narrative?
That's a good question. I think, obviously the two situations were completely different. I think with the whole George Floyd thing, that has been, it wasn't just that one incident. It's always been,
it was just a straw that broke the camel's back.
Exactly. Right. And then we watch it on video, and it's different when someone is like restrained and then dies versus someone who is, being a threat, trying to get, if you compare on the grand scheme of things, someone getting arrested in the street, on a normal day versus, a mob of people attacking,
a sacred place
capital.
in our country.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in our country.
Exactly. So it's like, obviously both died, and, and I don't think anyone should celebrate a death of anyone, but, you got to consider that can be the outcome. It's sad that she's a veteran, but I wouldn't say she should have known better, but you're trying to break into a federal building. Of course, they're going to, there's going to be some resistance, right? And someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to get shot. And a couple other people died, right?
Yeah, well, I think those were medically related, like people that maybe had heart attacks and stuff.
Okay.
But did you, all right, so there's a couple of questions here, okay? Did you watch the video of Ashley Babbitt getting shot?
No, I didn't see it.
Now,
was it an accident or was it like
no. You could see, like, the guy had the intentions. Like, he had the gun pointed at because they had been breaking down the door.
Right.
And there was like a little glass piece that people were trying to get through. And he had his gun pointed at that area. And when she was trying to go through, he just fired. And it hit her in the neck where that big artery is in your neck. Okay?
Oh, okay.
But the sad thing about it that really bummed me out, because, we are all one day, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but one day we are all, that's the one thing we all have in common. We're going to die.
Right.
So the look on her face when she was bleeding out was like panic, but like regret. Like,
yeah, like, why
man,
did I do
like
that?
why did I come out here? Why did I, and I'm not trying to speak for her, but that's what made me like really bummed out about the situation. Because yes, it was a justified shooting, but seeing that look, on that person's face where it's like, all right, I'm dying here over some stupid bullshit.
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's, people don't understand. Like, I've never been in the military, a veteran, or any of the above, but I know plenty. But I feel like, here in America, we're kind of like censored to the actual rest of the world as far as like, the consequences for actions. Like, people always praise these amendments, right to bear arms. And, some of these people can buy guns who have never been in a situation, who've never seen someone get killed, who's never been shot, who's never shot somebody, right? So it's like, I feel like, when that happened, they started to realize like, oh shit, these guys are for real. Like, they will shoot us,
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but it's reality. What do you think is going to happen? Right.
But Ciroc, though, it's like, here, I'll give you an example. My producer, Vulture, he's a military guy. And guess what? He's a badass. Guess what? I don't talk about any of the stuff, the horrors and shit that they've had to do. Because I laugh at when I see the MAGA people or either side that are like, hell yeah, we're going to have another civil war. And I'm like, people, you do not want that.
Yeah, like, it's not.
No, because that the deadliest conflict in U.S. history
Was the Civil War, right?
Was the Civil War? Yes.
And
it's crazy that people would want that.
Yeah, and especially like the reasons why. Like the Civil War. It was legitimate reasons why it had to be done. The American Revolutions. It was legitimate reasons, but this is just like frustration, and there's no real backing. Because you know what? A month from now, all these people that protested in March, they're gonna go back to work. A year from now, they're probably gonna forget about it. That's the sad part. It's just an in the moment type of thing. It gets headlines. It's with the pandemic going on, anything besides COVID is going to get a ton of attention, and I think that's kind of where we're at.
I'm glad you brought up revolution. Okay, now a lot of people, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Okay, because I said I was going to ask a lot of tough questions, and it's not that I necessarily believe it, but you talk about revolution, and a lot of the news media like to call the people that broke in as treasonous, like as traitors. Now, if you want to get technical, this country was kind of founded on
those same values.
I mean, am I right? So do you understand the what I'm trying to say is like, why are these people bad that did this today? Which I do think they are, but our ancestors or whoever founded this country, were treason, or they were traitors as well.
Yeah, to Britain, Great Britain. I don't know. Yeah,
yes, Great Britain.
That's a tough one. I just feel like there has to be more of a legit reason, right? So, like, let me ask you this: so, everybody that protests, what was the plan? Like, what did they want the outcome to be?
Well, can I tell you? They all went to that Trump rally. Now, I'm not saying what Trump did was wrong, but you got to be smarter, okay? Yeah. Because he told everybody at the rally, "Let's march down to the Capitol building." Now, he didn't say anything like that, but you just got to be smart with the way things are going right now. You can, and especially Trump knows how his supporters are.
Right.
They're rabid, and he should have known better not to do that. And I think that's what created that.
Maybe I think, I honestly think maybe that's what he wanted to happen. It was kind of like a show of force, like, hey, I still have a very, very, very strong support, and they will do anything I say at any time. And, if I feel like I didn't lose, they're going to feel the exact same way. It's funny, like, when all these lawsuits about, the voter fraud and the swing states, like, how come there's no like lawsuits in all the other states, right? How come it's not just like a complete overhaul? Why is it just, hey, I lost this state, so let me flip that over instead of the states. How about the states he won? No one's questioning that. It's, you can't pick and choose, what you want to complain about.
But there's hypocrisy. We have never been more divided, and I'm talking about both sides. I don't want people to think that I'm just going against Republican, but the hypocrisy is just like it's unbelievable. It is. I think it is.
It's insane. Yeah, because think about what in the summer when people were marching for the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and it was like, they're doing this, they're rioting, it's a pandemic, and then now this happens, and it's like literally the same exact thing, but somehow justified.
Did you see the comparison though? And now, did you see the comparison during
with
all those marches where the security? Yeah, the security that was there for the Black Lives Matter protest was like overboard, in my opinion. And they just basically just let these people like waltz right in.
Because that's because the problem is it's a direct order from Trump, pretty much. When it's one thing to have like a movement behind you to have your back, but when like the president like has your back and tells you to do that, even like I'm sure some of the cops and security guards probably conflicted. Like, when they got off work, maybe they'll join the protest. Who knows? But
I gotta give them credit though. Have you seen some of the pictures? Because I'm talking about the Senate floor, like where the president gives his State of the Union address. They had the doors. Yeah, they had the doors barricaded. People were trying to break down the windows. And all you could see is guys in suits. I don't know if they were Secret Service. I don't even know who they were, but they had guns drawn on the doors.
Yeah.
And for them to show the restraint that they did, but there's also a lot of people that are making a comparison that if this would have been a Black Lives Matter rally and they did the same thing,
no, they would have
we would have had a bunch of deaths.
I 100% believe that. I think it's a different mindset when it comes to, and I'm not trying to pull like the race card or anything like that.
No, I know you're not. And that's why I said that it's going to be some sensitive questions.
Yeah, it's just different because there's always been like, obviously I don't hate police. I don't love police. I could care less, but like, there's always been like a tension, I guess, it's always a fear on both ends. So it's a little bit more hostile versus, gun toting, trumpets or whatever you want to call them. It's seen more of a threat from me. Let me give you an example. If me and you went to protest or for whatever reason, and we're both gunned up, we got our little ARs or whatever we're carrying, like more than likely, I'm gonna get a lot more attention than you'll get attention.
But I mean, I'm glad you bring that up. That white kid, the one that was up there, he traveled to another state.
Oh yeah,
to protect it. It was Kenosha.
No, yeah.
All right, so it was up in Wisconsin, but he goes there and he ends up shooting some people. Now, what I will say is it's his right as an American citizen to carry an AR. I think he might have been underage, though. That's the big gray area, because
think about this,
when you go from once.
We live in arguably, the greatest country in the world. Why?
I don't think we do anymore, though. I really don't think we do.
Why would you ever feel the need to have an automatic rifle? Or, like, how often are you getting robbed or are you getting threatened?
But Sirach, this is where we're gonna differ. Because I think that there needs to be rules.
Guns are designed to do one thing, and that's to kill. Not to hunt for sport. It's literally, that's the whole point of guns. So if you have one, what are your intentions?
Okay,
not protection.
I mean, we could debate this all day. And that's the thing about people. I wish that people could be like me and you. And I'm not saying we're better than other people, but what I'm trying to say is that we can sit here and actually have a conversation. And even though we have opposing opinions, we can still be cordial with each other. Does that make sense? We're not hating each other.
Exactly.
And the Second Amendment is a very important law in this country. People want to say it's deaths and all this stuff. How about this, people? You can create all the laws you want to about people not having guns, but the criminals, guess what? They don't care about laws. So they're gonna have the guns. So then why can I not have something to be able to protect myself? Now, when it comes to mass shootings, people want to talk about the gun stuff.
Yeah, you should be able to protect yourself. But
it's mental illness. Mental illness plays a part.
But think about this:
these big mass shootings.
Yeah, you should be able to protect yourself. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be allowed to have a gun, but have like legitimate reasons. Like if I'm in, Syria, hell yeah, I'm gonna have plenty guns. But if I'm in, South Tampa, Florida, where people are driving Ferraris all around, like, do I need who's coming after me? It's can
I put it
some
this way?
People have guns because they want that situation to happen.
You're absolutely right. There are people, and I've got some friends that are looking for a reason to shoot somebody. I mean, look at our example, George. See, there's been so many of this stuff that's going on, but the Trayvon Martin stuff, okay? What was his name anyways? God, why am I drawing a blank?
George Zimmerman.
George Zimmerman. Yeah, that's why I was going to say George Floyd. Isn't that kind of weird that George Floyd, George Zimmerman? Zimmerman was looking for trouble. And I'll tell you how that all went down, okay? Zimmerman wanted to be a cop. Yep. Dude had all right to carry a gun, okay? Wasn't a felon, wasn't anything like that. But he thought he was going to be able to roll up on Trayvon and be able to intimidate him. And Trayvon was not having any part of that. And Trayvon did what he was. He defended himself. I think he did. and George Zimmerman was getting the shit beat out of him, and the only thing that he could have done, he pulled for his gun. George Zimmerman created that whole problem,
right? And another thing, you have so this is what kind of irks me sometimes, and I talked about this before. So, I was talking to my buddy Sean. Like, have you ever been in a fist fight before, Tuddle?
I mean, yes, I have been, but I never go looking for one.
I know, but what I'm saying is if I've never been in a fist fight or any type of altercation, right? And I had a gun, I would perceive everything as a life or death threat. So maybe it's just me, but with experience, I can tell whether this is something that is this person could kill me, this person is going to kill me. You got to know how to take an ass whooping sometimes too, right?
Yes.
If you never got an ass whooping, got into a fight.
Oh yeah.
You go to the ultimate, defense, which is obviously a gun or whatever you're carrying. And I think
you want to know what I did? I almost bit a dude's nipple off because I was getting my ass beat so bad. Mm-hmm. And the only thing, because he was on top of me, just pounding the fuck out of my face. Mm-hmm. That sounded really bad when I just said that. But the only thing I could do was lift up my head and bite his tit. And
you lived.
He got off of me though. He got off of me.
Right. He wouldn't have killed you with his bare hands. I've seen people get beat,
but
beat out of them. But that doesn't, you know what I mean? You got to take that. There's other ways around it. Maybe press charges afterwards. It's funny. I feel like to get a pistol, obviously you have to pass a background check and all that. Yeah. You should have to take a shot from that gun that you're going to buy in a non-lethal spot.
What
just so
are you
understand,
talking about? Wearing a bulletproof vest or something?
You should get shot maybe in a, I don't know, the butt or something like that. So then that way you understand the power of what you're holding. A lot of people don't understand that.
Listen though, but okay, but all right. So you grew up north, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up down here. Now, my parents, responsible gun owners, you want to know when I was at the age that I could handle a gun? Mm-hmm. I mean, my parents did not, and I don't want anybody to think that my parents gave me access, free access to guns as a child. No, that's not the case. But my parents sent me to summer camps to teach me about the safety of guns, how to responsibly, handle one.
Handle a firearm.
Now, do you have a problem with that, though? I mean, I think if people were taught about what this can do, how definite and infinite your reactions with this tool will be, how permanent it is.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's hard to be taught. You can, there's always practice. There's always preparing for the moment. But until you're in that moment, you have no idea. That's why, and I'm sure Vulture can vouch. It's a different mindset. Being probably overseas where it's in a conflict with someone else, it's kill or be killed. You got to protect yourself and the people you got to protect yourself and people you're with. But being at home is I don't know, it's just different.
But Chirag, though, we talked about this yesterday on the video we did. We were talking about if we didn't have to worry about the material world anymore, and it was just about our survival and stuff. And I think that people think that they could not do certain things, but when it all comes down to it, if it comes down between me and you, your instincts are going to kick in, I think, for the most part.
Definitely. But
so but you are for guns, but you think that there needs to be some regulation.
Yeah, I am for protecting yourself 100%, but I think it needs to be, like you said, some regulation. And I know you can bring up the point, well, a criminal can get a gun, and I understand
no, they can. They don't care about that.
Yeah, but the same thing with drugs. People can get drugs all over the place. Just because it's, people can get it with, circumventing the process doesn't mean that everybody should have it.
All right. So I don't want to go too long. So yesterday, all this happened, and it's just another one of those news events. When I was watching, there were a couple of things I was thinking about is how this is going to be written about in the history books. As a kid, remember you would open up your history book and you would be learning something. How is it going to be written and talked about? And
well, now though, now it's, you know,
it's all documented on video.
Yeah, so you don't even have to really read about it. You can just watch it for yourself. You know, it's and there's so many outlets to where like you don't have to just, like, for instance, in high school you have like an American history book that's, you know, made by I forgot the name of the book company, right? But there's a handful of them that pretty much write all the history books. But now, you know, with video, you know,
were those biased back in the day, though?
Yeah, they tell you what you want to hear, and then the teacher, you know, you only cover a certain amount of chapters, so it's a lot of misinformation. But with video, you don't have to go to like a news source to look back in history. I mean, you may even have it on your phone still, or somewhere up in the cloud or something like that. So it's more on demand than anything.
Yeah, see, that's weird because I forget the date because, you know, I think history is a subject that we don't pay enough attention to. You know, people want to talk about life expectancy, living longer is due to medical advancements. And I'll agree for the most part, but I'll give you the prime example that I use when it comes to why history is important. Okay. So on the day that 9/11 happened, when those people were being hijacked, those terrorists were trying to hijack the plane. Right. History told us that they're going to land the plane somewhere. They are going to make demands, and there's going to be an exchange. So that's why a lot of those planes did not fight back.
Because they didn't know that.
Yeah, they didn't know that they were going to fly it on. They didn't know that they were going to fly it into a plane or into a building.
Right.
And that's why they didn't fight back. That was why the fourth plane, the one that went down in Pennsylvania, because those people heard from other people, hey, they're not landing, buddy. They're trying.
And that was like, that wasn't the first, obviously, terrorist attack in the U.S. I mean, I think it was that
93. They did they tried to bring down the Twin Towers with a truck bomb.
Right. So like in 2001, it's like a lot of people didn't really understand the concept of like a terrorist. You know, that was like kind of like when it first originated, you know, in most of our minds. You know, we don't negotiate with terrorists, all that nonsense. So it's like, I don't blame them. You know, it's funny, like they always do these movies about it, and you know, a lot of people say, well, if it was me, I would do this. Like, no, you're
not in that situation.
You don't even know who the captain is who's flying the plane most of the time. You just trust it.
But you get what I'm saying. Now history teaches us that if somebody is taking over a plane, you might have to fight back because you don't know what they're going to do. And that's what I mean by expanding life expectancy, because we now have more knowledge of what has happened in the past.
You can see trends better.
Yeah,
you know, you avoiding the mistakes that we made in the past. Now, the only scary part is new mistakes, you know, things that haven't happened yet that could happen.
You know, we were talking about situations. Yeah, well, you brought it up. We were talking about situations. What would you do if you were in that situation? I don't want people to think like I'm actively searching for these sick, twisted videos and stuff. But for news purposes, I think it's part of my duty as and I have to get to another thing there. I didn't want to go long today, but God damn it, we work so well together. So we're talking about being in situations, and when you see where like these ISIS or the Taliban kidnap somebody and they execute them live on video. Okay. Why are the people that are about to get beheaded or whatever it may be so just docile? Like, is it because they've given up? Because I would like to think that if I was in that situation, I'm probably and most likely going to die, but I'm not going to make it easy on them. You know, I've never understood where they've made people dig a hole. Like,
but you got to understand, like, it's, you know, they show you what they want you to see. So, right. So by the time you see the video, like
they probably drugged
that person. That person is already is beat down. You know, has pretty much given up on life. Because who knows? Before the video even showed, they probably would have beat the crap out the guy and threatened his family. Who knows? So it's it's a shitty way to get killed. Don't get me wrong.
But you get what I mean by that, right? Like,
yeah, like most people say, I'll be fighting back, but it's a reason why you don't see them fighting back. There's no videos of them fighting back because I've watched a few documentaries about like, just like interrogation tactics and stuff like that. Like they can like break you down to the point where you don't even want to live.
Yeah, but do you think interrogation works though? Because I've looked at it this way. I mean, it does though, but I'm telling you though, when you are pitting somebody in excruciating torture or pain, I'm going to tell you whatever the fuck I'm going to tell you whatever I think will make you stop. And I don't even care if it's real or not. So that's I mean, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you don't know if the information you're getting for real.
But if you're ever in this, like usually I would assume, the military probably practices and teaches, how to handle getting interrogated and stuff. I don't think they don't just send regular citizens, to get interrogated who's never been interrogated before. These men probably are prepared and, and hopefully can endure, some of the tactics. But at the end of the day, it's not fun. And I don't know. I would probably chirp like a bird. I'd be telling the truth immediately. Or, maybe
I'm dry snitching everybody out. Yeah, I'm dry snitching. Now,
but if you do that, they let you go, then you can't go back home.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, I don't want to pitch on the spot, but do you have any predictions? Because everybody was about, 2021 is going to be so much better. I warned people about that. Do you have any predictions of things that are going to happen? Like, are we going to be able to get together as a country and unite ourselves? Or is that separation, that divide, gonna just grow even more?
That's a good question. I'm hoping for the best, but as of yesterday,
you're preparing yourself for the worst.
Exactly. I think the start will be a little bumpy, but eventually, like people, you're gonna have to get back to your normal lives. You're gonna have to go to work. You're gonna have to pay your bills. You're gonna have to take care of your children if you have any. So it's like, it's. How do I say this?
You want to know? Let me let you finish, because
I think things will get better. I truly do. I think after we figure out what to do with this whole pandemic situation, I do think things will get. I think they have to get better. I mean, only thing worse than this would be just total like civil unrest.
I think, man, I don't want people like me and Ciroc love doing fun radio, but this is. I've told people that there are these times where you got to talk about certain things.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of your responsibility as a podcaster or a content creator or even somebody in the media. It's your responsibility to talk about some of these. But my main worry is everybody's talking about how well the economy's doing. The stock market is
stock market doesn't care.
But that does not count for most people, though. Not
right.
It's such a small percentage of people that have their money in the stock market. I don't think they're going to realize.
I will say this. Over the past year, I say the good thing is I feel that a lot more people are informed on how the layers of government works. I surely am. Just how laws get passed and who's this and who's that. Now you're starting to really know who these people are, because they're they have such a huge impact on how you live your life. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's up to you. But like, for instance, with this whole like stimulus check nonsense, right?
Which I didn't even get my first one.
You didn't get your first one?
Nope. I don't even know what that. I've tried and tried and tried. I never
go on the IRS website, whatever.
Yeah, I've done everything that I was supposed to do, and I didn't get that 1,200.
I don't know.
I did not get it.
I keep trying. It's not too late. But yeah, the whole stimulus situation. I mean, I'm lucky enough to where I'm not like depending on anything like that. I mean, yeah, it definitely would be nice.
But it helps. It helps.
Right, but the people that actually really, really, really need it, like I feel bad for them, and I'm sure they are definitely more aware of what's going on in Washington, and so am I. So it's good to be informed. Just make sure that you're getting your news from credible source, and always like I tell people, like listen to the other side. People who maybe are Trump support. Yeah, like try to don't think that just because you think this way that everybody else should think that way. Like listen to the opposition.
No, I agree with you. See, I have a process, okay? I usually, for the most part, get the news quicker on social media, but I never take anything that I read on social media as fact.
Right.
And then I go to a reliable source and I try to find a couple of them before I even start talking about them. But I think there's a fine balance. You just have to work a little bit harder.
Exactly. But most people, I mean, this day and age, everything is instant. If most people, if they have to search more than 3 different sources, they probably just give up and go with the first person to tell them something.
These deep fake videos though are kind of concerning though.
I've never even seen them. What is that about?
I mean, how good they're getting at superimposing somebody else's face on somebody else's body to make it look. I mean, the technology is getting like Chirac. It's like I've been fooled a couple of times on some of them.
Who's in charge? Is that a company, deepfake, or is that just
no? It's just that's what they call it, deep fake videos, where it's like really, really deep that they can do such a good job at doing it now. And it's crazy.
That means 100 years from now, we're all going to be replaced by androids that look just like us.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to tell who's real and who's not. But at the end of the day, what is reality? I mean,
my biggest worry, and then this will be the last thing because I know we've gone long, but my biggest worry is that a lot of these evictions are going to hit at one time. And you're going to see a lot of people, like during the Great Depression. I mean, not a lot of people realize is that they would just load up a car or a horse and buggy
and just move
and just move and just they would live outside. Now, what's going to lead to that is there's going to be a lot of people out on their ass, out on the street, are good people, by the way, that have been trying to live by the law. But I've talked about this. I'm never going to be a father, most likely. But
you never know.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that even if I was a good citizen and I lived by the laws, if I had to go do things I didn't want to do to make sure my family was fed, like what I'm talking about, shoplifting or robbing or loot, you see what I'm saying? For people, for the most part, that are really, really good people, but they're just desperate.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying what they do, breaking laws is fine, but I can also look at that as like, all right, I mean, I kind of understand because I know that I wouldn't want to let my family starve.
No, of course not. And I can't speak for everybody with a family, but like you said, like this is what you think could happen, right? So if you think that can happen, then you got to like prepare yourself for it. Like there's always going to be, I hate to say it, there's always going to be rich people and poor people in the world. There's never really going to be a happy medium, right? Because we may be all humans, but we all, are different in a way. Some people,
but that's how it works.
Strive for things more. Some people don't. Some people expect things. So it's like, yes, I mean, I can't speak on anybody that's homeless or would lose their house or anything like that. But it's, if you see it coming and you didn't do anything about it, then that's on you.
But these are circumstances beyond kind of people's control, though. I mean, there's a lot of people that have gotten let go because this pandemic was handled so poorly that they had to shut things down. Because, I mean, think about this, okay?
But there's always options. There's always other options. You may not like them, but there's always other options.
Oh, dude, I would go stripping at a gay club like immediately. Do you know how much money you would be able to make, man, if you did that? Like, I mean, if we're talking about things you had to do, like
just to give you an example. Hey, just to give you an example. So back in March, when obviously COVID hit everyone, we had to close down for I don't know, maybe a month and a half or something like that. And I had some money saved, so I wasn't panicking, but I knew I need to at least have some sort of income coming in. So, I hit up a buddy up who happens to work for a recruiting company, and they were hiring people online for the Florida unemployment system or whatever. I forgot what it was called. But like, it's just, I'm not saying that I got lucky because I knew somebody. It's just being prepared, like having those aces in the hole. Like you should have a book of people who you care about that, who truly will help you out in case shit hits the fan. Like always make good connections, always, be remembered. So then, like, if shit like this happens, you have other outlets besides just, going online, searching for a job and doing that type of stuff.
Like, seriously, though, like, I mean, I would go do any job that I would have to go do. Like, I don't even care what it would be. Like, if you want me to, like, my job all day at the first car wash I worked at, I was in charge of cleaning rims.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's not an extravagant job, but that's all I did all day long. And I got to tell you, when these snowbirds and old people come down, they take their rims real seriously, and they will come back around and bitch you the fuck out that you missed a little spot on their rims.
Man. Oh, man. Nah, I don't know.
But I would do that, though.
I don't know if I could do that. But if I had to, I would. That wouldn't be my first choice.
All right, Ciroc, I didn't mean to keep you on longer, man, but
no,
like
I
thought this was a great topic. I mean, it's not a great topic. Like, I hated to see it happen, but this is one of those occasions where it needs to be talked about. Because
right.
Like when I worked at Real Radio 104.1 with the Monsters, that's all we did. We stayed away from the serious news story because you can get that other places. We took,
but it's all over. You can't avoid it. It's the elephant in the room. That's the thing.
But like after 9/11, that's like the third time I brought up 9/11. But like we talked about 9/11 for like almost a month,
mm-hmm.
and it was just out of our comfort zone. But there's just stories that you have to talk about.
Yeah, and people need to hear it. That's why things go on now. We're too, like I said, we're too censored, and everybody has their eyes and ears closed. And once something like this happens or something else happens, and it's there's all this pandemonium and shock. Like you should have seen this coming. I mean, and let me ask you this before you got to go. What do you think? Do you think things within the next? Because when's the inauguration? The 20th, I think. January 20th?
Yeah, January 20th. Now, that's the only great thing about the pandemic is that Biden is kind of going to do an online thing. But could you imagine if we were not in a pandemic right now and you would have that mixture of the Biden supporters that want to come see him get inaugurated and then the Trump people?
Oh, if there was no COVID, Trump may be the president still now. Like I think a lot of, I mean, it was a close election. I think a lot of the swing votes were due to, handling of this whole pandemic situation.
Do you think, I think Trump's ego is so big, he's not freaking out. But like the normal person would be, like all those allies, like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was the biggest Trump mark. Like, could do no wrong. And he basically sold him out. Hell, even his own vice president. Did you see what Mike Pence?
Yeah,
the banner that Mike Pence has on his Twitter account. It's Kamala and Biden.
That's insane. That just shows that like you almost feel bad for the guy. Like he had to, and like you think like when he got picked, he was thinking like, damn, why did you pick me? Like you got to go with it, right?
I actually like Pence, though. Pence seems like a nice dude. I felt bad for him when he had that fly on his head during the debate against Kamala. But, like, I don't think Pence is a bad guy. And I don't want people to think that I just hate Republicans. Like, there's some Republicans that I like.
Exactly. And, like, I'm not even, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a Democrat. I wouldn't call myself
But is it weird how
I'm in the middle.
Is it weird how we always have
to pick a side,
to cover our ass now on statements we make? Because, if I make one statement, I automatically get called a libtard or, everybody wants to use the word libtard now. And they're like, you're a liberal retard. And I'm like, I really don't like, there's a lot of things that the Democrats do that I don't agree with.
Yeah. And it's, but you got to either accept that or be considered the supporter of the other party. Like, that's why I don't really dive too much into politics, especially like on social media, because it's just 1 minute you say this.
Oh, you're gonna alienate one side of you're gonna lose people. Like, yeah, you're going to piss somebody off.
And it's saucy because I see some of the posts from people that I've been friends with or been really great people that I've met in person, and then some of the things they say, but I don't completely just judge them off that. I mean, that's just one side of the thing. You're not gonna like everything that someone you care about says or does or believes in, right? So, yeah. But it's just crazy how quick people are, to voice their opinion on a social media platform where thousands of people can view and look back on next year and kind of bring it up to you and see if your thoughts have changed or not.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about Facebook memories now. Like if you say some really fucked up, you say some fucked up shit that you thought was brilliant at the time, and then like a year later on this day you said this, and I'm like, ooh man, that might be a bad thing to say.
Yeah, and that's all it is, man. It's just social media. Even didn't Trump get his Twitter and Facebook?
Oh yeah, Trump is he has been put in a timeout for 24 hours or until he gets rid of the tweets that he put out.
And then like people were saying, oh, that's
it's not First Amendment. No, it's not First Amendment. It's not a First Amendment thing. That is a private company.
Yeah,
they are able to control the type of content that they put on there. Now, there's going to have to be some rules made about that.
Yeah, but you don't have to have a Twitter. You don't have to have a Facebook. You don't have to have an Instagram. And then people go on Facebook and say, "Oh, I got to be careful about being in Facebook jail," or "F Mark Zuckerberg," as they're using their Facebook account. Like it's so hilarious.
But I've been shadow banned before on Twitter. And it took a while to get back where I wasn't, but where I have a problem with it is that it has to go both ways. It really, really does, because even if we don't want to admit it, like social media is becoming a real part of the media. Do you think our founding fathers back in the day thought of, hey, there's going to be this box that people are going to get all their info from that's going to have moving pictures? No, they did not.
Right.
They had to make new rules. That's why the FCC was created, and they had guidelines. So they're going to have to do the same thing with the social media companies. It's just going to have to happen because it's detrimental to the survival of our country. I think social media is one of the biggest reasons why we are so divided right now.
Yeah, 100%. And then you got all these other third party, ad trackers who can show you what you want to see, and that just infuriates you more because, it's just chaos. And at the end of the day, they're the ones making the money, and the world is burning pretty much. So,
hey, Tarak, I have so many other questions, but tell people how they can check out your podcast. I think the episode that me and you recently did will be available today or tomorrow.
Yeah, actually today. I was just gonna I'm gonna post that right after this, right after we get up the call here. But
and where can they find it?
On Twitter. Well, on Twitter, you can find me at Sarak the Mic. That's SerakThemic. And then as far as the podcast, on Spotify, Apple Music, and on YouTube, all the same title. It's The Weekly Review. That's I don't gotta spell that, but The Weekly Review.
Yeah, listen, my people can get it. If they can't get it, you don't want them listening to you. Anyways, how's your partner from your show? Is he doing a little bit better?
He's doing better. I mentioned him earlier. I haven't gotten a response yet, but I think he may still be at the local hospital here. But he's definitely doing better.
All right, Sarak, man, I appreciate this. I really appreciate you coming on again.
No
and
problem.
Like I said, I want to start doing some more of this. I know. See, what's crazy, as I said, we were only going to do like 15. I don't even know what the fuck we did today, but I'm sure it's like 40 minutes. But it was good stuff. I think it is.
Yeah, I could. I mean, time flies pretty much. I could go at least another hour. I say that, and then in 30 minutes,
I bet you say that all to all the women. I mean, for real though, do guys ever want to go that long? Like,
for 45 minutes? I don't think I've ever gone for 45 minutes.
No, but have you ever okay, this, God damn it. See that now I was trying to get off, but I'll make this quick, okay? Have you ever been in the middle of a session with a chick, but you get that cramp? Have you ever gotten a cramp?
Yeah. Like in my hamstring? Yep.
Yeah,
hamstring,
yeah, and you're you're like, I don't want to be a bitch because I'm bringing it, because you got the girl right on that edge. Because you know what? Sometimes it's harder to get a girl to that point. And if you stop, you're you got to make up all that ground you already made up before. So you fight through that cramp. Sometimes it's why?
I stop. I pay myself first.
Real.
Yep. Pay myself first.
So, I mean, it would be great. But then that would be you'd be with an under. I was if you could have a water boy come up and just give you some water.
If you're cramping, then you're probably doing it for too long anyway.
Yeah.
That's your body telling you, like, hey, man, we're not 21 anymore.
All right, Sir Rock, man, I appreciated today's conversation.
No problem, buddy. It was a pleasure.
From the Vapor Shades Hobo Fish Camp.
Man, maybe I would have way more sex partners in my life if I just threw caution to the wind.
It's the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Tuddle's Daily Podcast is brought to you by StitchYouUp.com. For your embroidery, screen printing, vinyl, and direct-to-garment printing needs, visit StitchYouUp.com. Stitch You Up specializes in custom caps, shirts, decals, and anything you want to personalize. Whether it's one item or large orders, they can handle any size. Unsure about what you want? Let Stitch You Up help you with your logo design. Visit StitchYouUp.com or contact them, Eric at StitchYouUp.com. Stitch You Up. Definitely not your grandma's embroidery.
All right, before I end the show, I just want to apologize. Like I said, I love doing fun radio, and I'm going to get back into some fun stuff. I've been going out on the street, doing some man-on-the-street stuff. I've also been promising you guys I'm going to review the very first show that I did of the Tuddle Daily Podcast, because it's kind of embarrassing and depressing to listen to, but I just want to apologize. But like I said, there's events that happen in our country that just have to be talked about. And today was one of those days. Check out my website, Tuddle.net. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can easily do that. Email me, Tuddle@gmail.com. Or you can leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. Or if you want to check out any of my YouTube content, the Tuddle Daily Podcast is now available on YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button, because when you hit that bell button, you're going to get alerted anytime I upload any new content or go live. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Be smart, guys. I mean, we're living in some pretty crazy times in America. So be smart. Everybody is on edge. You don't have to win an argument. Even if you're driving around road raging, just let it go. It's really not worth it. I have that opinion now after what I saw happen to Ashley Babbitt. It sucks that she died. She should have known better, but that it does not make it right. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, because I do care about every single one of you. And no matter what your political beliefs are or religious beliefs, I respect them. But don't get caught up in the hype like Ashley Babbitt did and end up dead. Because, I mean, look at what it's done to her family. And I bet if she had it to do all over again, I would hope that she wouldn't do that. Because, I mean, nobody wants to be dead. And just because you guys are calling her a patriot does not make her death any better. I mean, it's all on how you look at it. I can understand why some people would think of her as a patriot, but I can also understand where some people would be like, you know what, she was an idiot. She had it coming. So I can see both sides, but it's still sad either way you look at it. So be safe, guys.